I'm actually going to tell you a story if that's okay. Do you guys like stories? I like stories. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about my family, and I'm going to tell you one story that comes from the Bible. If you want to know what it's called, if you're taking any notes, which... Yo. It's okay. It's just, I mean, you guys respect me, and so it's a real weird way to show respect. Hey, I want to tell you two stories, and I'm going to tell you one Bible story. Is that cool? Who's ever heard the Bible story Jonah and the whale? Jonah and the whale. Jonah gets swallowed by the big fish. Yeah. All right. I'm going to tell you it slightly differently, but that's okay. Hey, it's real funny. It's real funny the way you see something, or your attitude towards something will really change the way you feel or see it. Does that make sense? Like the angle that you see it will change the way that you see it. Will change your perspective. Okay, so I'll give you an example. All right, what I'm gonna talk about tonight is called "What You're Looking At." It's like what you looking at. There used to be this this program that was out before you guys were even born called I think it was called Family Ties, and there was this wee fella. There was this wee fella, and his tagline was, "What you talk about, Willis?" Well, anyway, tonight I'm going to talk about what you're looking at. All right. Now, is there anyone who plays touch? Okay, the broken dudes in the corner. Yeah, vicious sport. No, seriously, touch is a vicious sport. One of the only bones I ever broke was playing touch. I broke my foot. Yeah, yep, in the Edgar Sports Centre. And it was because I tried to sidestep, and apparently I'm not built for sidestepping. So the simple act of sidestepping put too much pressure on one half of my foot, and it broke. Yeah, true story. Yeah. But anyway, touch, vicious sport. But the cool thing about touch is that my kids play touch. Because Asher's going to be an All Black. But on the other hand, Charlie's more likely to be an All Black. Charlie's actually good at touch. Asher is enthusiastic. So like Asher is so good, like what will happen is that the first game of touch he ever played, he actually ran towards the first person, touched him, that was it for the game. That was all he did, because do you know what he did for the rest of the game? Every time we go running past, he's like, Dad, I touched the first guy. And then he didn't see anything else. Dad, did you see me touch the first guy? It was awesome, I touched the first guy. Afterwards, Dad, I didn't get player of the day and I touched the first guy. Why didn't the coach see it? Dad, I touched the first guy. Yes, son, you did, but then you didn't do anything else the whole game. Yeah, but I was really excited. It's awesome. Our team lost. Yay! Okay, son, that's awesome. That's awesome. But he does this real funny thing, right? He's actually not a bad runner. And the thing about him running is that he's actually real good at getting around people. Which is kind of funny because, like, I'm kind of built for going through people, which is why touch isn't really my game. Tackle, on the other hand, like, I make people scared. Anyway. But there's this funny thing that he does, right? There's this funny thing that he does where he'll get the ball and he'll run with it. And if he doesn't, he might run, like, 3/4 of the field because he's actually, like, small. He has abs. Like his dad. So he's quite small, he's quite wiry like I am. And he can get through gaps really well, just like me. Alright? But he gets through gaps, he'll go 3/4 of the field, he'll get touched 80%, like he's only like 5 meters away from the touch line. He'll get touched 5 meters away from the touch line. He's run like 80% of the entire field. You know, all the other mums are going, "Oh, he's such a cutie." And all the other kids are going, "Go Asher!" And anyway, he gets 80% of the way, he gets touched. And one of the things that we've had to work with him over the last year is what happens is he grabs the ball. Oh, Krista, can you throw me the ball? No, there's a ball just like right there. You could use your imagination, but I was going to use an actual ball if that's okay. See, it's been weirdly? Okay, so this is what he does. So he gets touched. And then he'll do this. He'll come off to the sideline. face. No actual words. That's the actual sound that he makes. I've been practicing. Honest to goodness, that's what he does. It's real funny, hey, because the thing is that he didn't understand that he'd actually set his team up to win. He didn't understand that. He didn't understand that he'd actually gone 80% of the way. He'd done something awesome, but because of the way that he saw it, he thought it was a failure. So this is the story that I'm going to tell tonight, all right? I'm going to tell you about Jonah and the whale. Now, Jonah is an interesting dude, right? He was, believe it or not, the most successful, or at least, he was pretty much the most successful dude to tell people about God in the entire Old Testament. On his claim to fame, he led 90,000 people to the Lord in essentially 2 days, I think. That's quite a good couple of days, hey? 90,000 people, an entire city. Imagine Dunedin getting saved because of something you did. That'd be pretty cool, hey? That'd be like a good day at the office. In fact, if you did nothing else your whole entire life, that would probably be enough to have, like, I don't know, you're talking to Moses or Abraham or whoever and going, so, what do you get up to while you're alive? Yep, 2 days, 90,000 people. Not bad, hey? The crazy thing is that Jonah didn't see it that way, all right? So the dudes that he was being sent to talk to God about were these guys called the Ninevites. And they did all kinds of really bad stuff. In fact, Jonah thought it was so bad that historically it said that what he used to do was actually say bad stuff about them. Like he was essentially, like before he had this job as a prophet of God, he was essentially someone in civic office, and that just basically meant that his job was to send out information, and he basically slammed the Ninevites. And so, of course, God's going to choose him to be the one to tell them, hey, look, you should probably follow me and stop doing that. What do you think was going to happen to Jonah if he came rocking into the country? You imagine if you were known for slamming Matara. That was your role. So Jack Kavanagh, all he does was just slam Matara. Oh, actually, even better. Sebastian Phillip. All he ever did was slam Verdun. All the time. Verdun sucks. Verdun is awful. Verdun is the worst school in the entire world. The girls at Verdun are hairier than the guys. The guys at Verdun have effeminate hands, and they smell like cabbage. All right? The teachers shave twice a day, and that's just each other's backs. And that's just the woman. That's all he does. And then unfortunately he gets kicked out of Hargest, and the only school available to him now, that's right, is Verdun. No, boys, I wouldn't take you. They have standards. Yep. Aurora? No, they're cool. Wouldn't say anything bad about them. So, okay, so Philip rocks into Verdun. What would happen to him? There would be death, wouldn't there? There would be death. So this is essentially what's going on. So you'd think that if God told Jonah, hey, go tell the Ninevites that they're not doing the best job in the world and they need to follow me, Jonah would be scared, hey? Like anyone who knows the Sunday school story, God tells Jonah, go talk to the Ninevites. Jonah goes, nah, and runs away. The real interesting thing is in the Bible, it doesn't actually talk about Jonah being scared. It never talks about it. So basically what happens is God tells Jonah, go tell the Ninevites, I want to give them a chance to turn to me, and then I won't destroy them. And Jonah goes, no. Not only that, he runs away. All right? So the interesting thing about that is that he wasn't actually necessarily scared. So what happens? I'll tell you the story and then I'll tell you why it's important. So Jonah runs away, right? So he runs away to this port. And anyway, he hops on a ship because he's out of there. So he hops on this ship, starts going out into the ocean, and what should happen? But God sends a storm. So suddenly there's this storm. Now the crazy thing is that Jonah should be freaking out, hey, because God sent the storm. Jonah's actually asleep in the boat. All the sailors are freaking out. They're all going, what's going on? Jonah's having a snooze. This is not the picture of a dude who's scared for his life. He's just getting a bit of a nap in. So he's not scared there either. The sailors wake him up and go, hey Jonah, talk to your God, because we've talked to all ours and they're not talking to us. Someone sent this storm and it's someone's fault. And Jonah goes, yeah, it's probably mine. God sent the storm, he's real, and yeah, I'm not going the right way. And they go, well, you're going to have to do something about it. And Jonah says, throw me overboard because that will calm God down. He's not actually like, please don't throw me overboard. It's like, oh, just throw me over and that'll be fine. It'll be good. Because it doesn't, the Bible doesn't actually have all that good tone. It's like essentially the largest text message of all time. And so the sailors actually say to him, oh no, we're not going to do that. They try to make it back to port, and it gets so bad that Jonah goes, throw me overboard. All right, now this is the bit where you guys would have heard it. He gets swallowed by a big fish. A big fish. Okay? He gets swallowed by a big fish. 3 days and 3 nights he's in this big fish, which is really interesting. Some interesting stuff on the net as to why Jonah didn't get digested for 3 days. There's actually, no, seriously, that was one of the things. You can look it up if you really want. It's like, oh, okay, you scientifically tried to have a look at that. That's great. Eventually, Jonah gets vomited up on the doorstep of the country that he was running away from. And it actually says the fish threw him up, vomited him up. NIV says it, threw him up. So he spends the next 3 days walking towards Nineveh. He finally goes, God, that's okay. He says this funny prayer. Wasn't really a prayer. It was like, okay, God, I hear you now. Now you can take me to Nineveh, is essentially what the prayer boils down to. It's not like, God, save me. It's like, okay, God, got me. That's okay. I'll go and do what you want now. So he gets thrown up by a fish. He goes to see the Ninevites, and it's not like this beautifully, unbelievably phrased message. It's like, 40 days from now, God's going to destroy you all. Sweet, see you later. Spends 3 days just saying that same message over and over. It says it took 3 days to get to the center of Nineveh because it was one of the biggest cities at the time. And for 2 days he just went, God's really unhappy and he's going to destroy you in 40 days. Doesn't say you can get out of it. Doesn't say, hey, this is what you need to do. Just goes, God's going to destroy you. Sorry about that. Suckers! I've got this sneaking suspicion that Jonah didn't actually like the Ninevites at all. He just didn't like them. He just didn't like them. That was all it was. He wasn't afraid of them. He just didn't like them. And so the crazy thing is the response to that is the Ninevites go, oh my gosh, we need to, oh my gosh, let's all take off our clothes. Stephen's just sitting in the front going, I am in. Sign me up. No. They take off all their clothes. They put on sackcloth instead, and they have a fast. So no one eats, no one drinks for days, on the off chance that God might have compassion on them, which is pretty awesome. That's an awesome attitude, hey, particularly for a guy that got thrown up by a fish. So he's kind of stinky, it's a bit smelly and stuff. Anyway, what happens is that Ninevites basically turn their ways. They change their attitude, which is awesome. But then what happens from there is Jonah gets hacked off. So he goes up above the city to watch God destroy the Ninevites. This is what it says. Okay. So this is in Jonah. This is Jonah 1-4. Okay. So it goes to Nineveh. Jonah's anger at the Lord's compassion. But to Jonah this seemed very wrong, and he became angry. He prayed to the Lord, isn't this what I said, Lord, when I was still at home? This is what I tried to forestall by fleeing. I knew that you are a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love, and a God who relents from sending calamity. Now, Lord, take away my life, for it is better for me to die than to live. He's hacked off that God saves the Ninevites. He's hacked off. He's going, I threw a tantrum back there and I'm throwing a tantrum now. They don't deserve to live. Anyone have any school friends like that? You know, that if God's actually compassionate on them and he blesses them and stuff like that, that you're like, that's not fair. I ticked the boxes. I did everything you wanted me to do and you bless those guys. This sucks, God. This sucks bad. I'm trying to channel, what's his name? We've got 2 speakers. Jason, give me your purse. Reese Darby, yeah. I ate Reese Darby. All right. Now check it out. So, is it right? So he goes out and he has a wee tanty at the side of the city, right? Okay. And so God grows a plant over him. So Jonah's out having a tanty about the fact that he saved the Ninevites and God gives him some shelter. And Jonah has a wee tanty at that as well. So at dawn the next day, there was a worm. God provided a worm, which chewed the plant so that it withered. When the sun rose, God provided a scorching east wind. Thanks, God. And the sun blazed on Jonah's head so that he grew faint. He wanted to die, which he already did anyway. And he said, it would be better for me to die than to live. But God said to Jonah, is it right for you to be angry about the plant? And Jonah says, it is. I'm justified in my righteousness. They should get smashed. You should smash them. Does he sound like any Christians you might know? You know, they should get God. God's going to get them. He's going to get them. Get them. Sick them, God. Sick them. But God said, it is, I'm so angry, I wish I were dead. But the Lord said, you've been concerned about this plant, though you did not tend it or make it grow. It sprang up overnight and died overnight. And should I not have concern for the great city of Nineveh, in which there are more than 120,000 people who cannot tell their right hand from their left, and also many animals? So this is the crazy thing, okay? This is what you need to get from this. This story isn't actually about the Ninevites, although it's awesome that God saved the Ninevites. This story is actually about Jonah's stink attitude. So there's 2 things going on here. Jonah had a stink attitude, and his perspective was all wrong. He didn't actually understand what was going on. All right? A bit like Asher, who goes 80% of the way and then throws a tantrum because someone else scores the try after he's set it up. So this is my thoughts, okay? Winston Churchill, do you guys know who Winston Churchill is? I so totally hope you do. Winston Churchill says, a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, and the optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. What you focus on gets bigger in your life, and what you focus on becomes your world. So if you spend your whole time focusing on your problems, what's going to become the biggest thing in your life? Your problems. If you focus on the negative Facebook comments that are on your page, what's going to become big in your life? The Facebook comments. Do you understand? I mean, anyone who's ever had one negative, or the classic defriending. Anyone? I've had a defriend in the last week. That was anyone ever feel that deeply? Like, oh my goodness, I've been defriended. What have I done? And it turns out they decided to go off Facebook for a week. That was it. I've stopped my page and everyone gets defriended, and then it's like, oh my goodness, the person hates me now. What have I done? I should send a message. Should I do the add friend request again? Oh no, they've ignored it. Should I do it again? Maybe they haven't seen it. Anyone do that? That's just me. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's cool. You got to understand, God sets Jonah up. Like he sets him up to win. Jonah's like does one of the coolest things in the entire Old Testament. So he does one of the coolest things in the first half of the Bible. And he can't actually even see it because he's got such a stink attitude. All right? Now, I'll give you a reason why. Guess who the Ninevites' God was. Guess. You got to guess. Guess. Come on, guess. Come on, guess. Guess. Come on, guess. Guess. Come on, guess. Guess. No, guess. Guess. Try again. Guess. No, it wasn't the sun. Guess. No, it wasn't the moon. No, guess. Keep guessing. Guess. 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 What? Kiriyama, what was that? Sorry, buddy. It's a fish. Yeah, no, seriously. Believe it or not, the Ninevites were fish worshippers. They believed literally that a big whale would one day come and save them. That was literally what they believed. Now let's think about Jonah's vehicular transport in order to get to Nineveh. A fish literally threw him up. So from the fish-worshipping Ninevites, they got sent a prophet who just happened to have a message about God. Their God threw him up. So if you're a fish worshipper and a fish comes onto the beach, it goes, bleh, and Jonah goes, sup, you'd probably listen to him, eh? Because in your worldview, that's the dude that you listen to. Oh, God threw him up, he must have something to say. It's really dark and horrible inside this fish. No, I don't know. In 40 days, God's going to kill you. Oh my gosh, we've got to do something about this. This is really serious, because if that fish was his mode of transport and that fish is our God, flip, we've got to do something. All right? So, this is what I got. See, the story of Jonah is all about, he was one of the most successful evangelists in the Old Testament, but didn't want the job and wasn't blessed by doing it. How many of us are like that in our schools? Like, we don't actually really want to do anything about our school, because at the end of the day, they're all real, like for some of us, they're pretty mean to some of us. And they're mean to other people. And I don't think they particularly need anything. I got told this one thing the other day. The reason that we don't tell people about God is we don't actually really care enough about them. I was like, oh, really? Well, yeah, if you've got the answer to the questions that they're asking and you don't want to tell them, then the reason you don't want to tell them is because your embarrassment is more important than their salvation, like knowing the truth. It's pretty crazy, eh? Because like if you've got someone wandering around looking for a light and you know what the light is and you don't give it to them, that's just because you either like them stumbling around in the dark or you don't actually really care too much about them. See, the thing about Jonah is that he wasn't scared of them, he just didn't really like them. See, he wasn't fearful, he was hacked off the Ninevites were going to get such a good deal. See, the thing that you have to understand is two things. If God tells you to do it, then the victory's already there. Does that make sense? Because if God wins, right, like if you read the Bible, God wins, yeah? So if God wins and he tells you to do something, then the victory is already there. It doesn't matter whether it's a short-term victory or a long-term victory or a medium-term victory, it's still a win. That makes sense, hey? Has anyone ever, any artists in the house? Any artists in the house? We've got Krista, Kiriyama, okay. Would you ever buy a canvas, with a black dot on it? If you had a choice between a canvas with a black dot on it and a canvas with nothing on it, what would you choose? You'd have just the normal one, hey? Tane, what's up, bro? Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, the thing is that whole black dot thing is often what we think. So we look at our own lives, and often we look at it with a critical life. We look at the black dots. We look at the stuff, and we go, oh, actually, God can't use that. There's black dots there. But honestly, like seriously, someone came up with the idea of connect the dots. And I reckon that God probably inspired them, hey? So like it doesn't matter what your canvas looks like. It doesn't matter whether it's, you start off with a white canvas, like you've never done anything bad in your whole entire life. It doesn't matter if you start off with a completely black canvas or what feels like a black canvas. Like God's going to be able to use you no matter where you're at. Because the thing is if God can use a dude who gets thrown up by a fish, then he can use you with your stuff, hey? In fact, guess what? Guess what? Guess. Come on, guess. Come on, guess. No, seriously, guess. No, you have to guess. Guess what? Whatever you've gone through, God's going to use that to tell your story to other people, whatever it is. So the best stuff you've ever done, the worst stuff you've ever done, that makes you uniquely and significantly qualified to speak into the people who are just like you. See, the crazy thing is that one of the areas that I had that I struggled with growing up was pornography, right? So there's an area that I just struggled with. I mean, statistically speaking, about 80% of all guys struggle with it. So, one of the crazy things that's happened as I've been youth pastoring is that's actually one of the most significant things that I've helped people with over the course of that. So the thing that should have taken me out is actually the thing that I can use to help people. It's pretty cool that God will use whatever you've got, hey. It's awesome. It's so good. So I've got 2 real quick thoughts, and then we're going to finish up, okay? It's really awesome. It's interesting that while we might have a view that means that we focus on the black dots, God's got a bigger view than that. He's got an eagle-eye view. He can see the whole situation. So it doesn't matter what the situation is. I fully don't believe that if there's been some really bad stuff happen in your life, I don't actually believe that God necessarily made that happen for you. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Because God's a good God. But even though some bad stuff might have happened to you or whatever it is, God's still going to use that for your best good. So while God hasn't necessarily taken you through that stuff, He's going to use it for your best good. So this is what I thought. This is my only thought, and then we're going to finish up. If we get our attitude right, and if we get our perspective right, then we start getting revelation from any situation. So like you can start recognizing where you're at and why God's placed you there. See, the thing is that if we get perspective and revelation in any situation, that becomes the platform from which we perform. That was almost a wrap. That was as good as I got. I could totally wrap that. So I'll just say that again. It's awesome that if we get perspective and revelation in any situation, that becomes the platform from which we perform. So if you recognize the situation that you're in, if you recognize the stuff that you've got, that actually becomes the platform which you can stand on. That becomes the thing that you can actually use. So I just wanted to leave you with this encouragement, and it's Philippians 4:8. All right, and it is, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. See, the thing is, if you focus on things that are excellent, admirable, and praiseworthy, then eventually that's what you'll become. What you focus on, you'll become. And so the really exciting thing is that you guys are all young. I think pretty much everyone's younger than me. Wayne, respect, man. The great thing is that you guys get to choose what you focus on. Now, for some of you guys, the question I want to ask yourself is, what are you focusing on at the moment? What are you focusing on at the moment? What are you focusing on at the moment? Are you focusing on stuff that's going to build you up? Or are you focusing on stuff that's going to get you down? So musos, if I can get you guys to come up, that would be awesome. If you could do Your Presence is Heaven to Me, that song's real cool. I like that one. What we're going to do is we're going to create a space. We're going to finish up in about 4 minutes. We're going to create a space down here. What I want you to do is, just for a second, I want you to close your eyes. I don't want anyone talking. If you're talking, you're just being rude. So just close your eyes. What I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, what am I focusing on at the moment? Is it good stuff? Is it stuff that's beneficial to me? Is it stuff that builds me up? Or am I focusing on negative stuff, stuff that breaks me down, stuff that destroys, stuff that's going to take me down? Like I said at the start, I believe that tonight there's going to be a switch flicked for some people. What I believe actually is as you come up, for some of you guys who come up, the picture that I had in my head was a Rubik's Cube. And so any of you guys who know how to do Rubik's Cubes and stuff, if you've ever seen them being solved, it looks like magic. It looks really impressive and stuff like that. I believe that God's going to change mindsets tonight. So I believe that God's going to change attitudes. The other thing that I believe that if you come up tonight, the other thing that I believe God's going to do tonight is that he's going to change perspective. And I believe that some of the things that you guys have seen as negative and only negative, I believe God's going to use that for your greatest good. So you might think that you don't have a future. See, it says in the Bible, "For I know the plans I have for you," says the Lord, "plans to prosper and not to harm, plans for a hope and a future." Young person, if you're hopeless tonight, that's a lie. If you don't think you have a destiny tonight, that's a lie. If you don't think you have a future tonight, that's a lie. God's got the best future for you. He's got the best plans for you. He's been thinking about, it says the number of thoughts towards us, the number of God's thoughts towards us are like all the grains of sand. That tells me that God's thought about us a lot. Guys, you have a God that loves you so much. And he wants the absolute best for you. And I want to give you the opportunity tonight to respond to that. I want to give you the opportunity to say yes to Jesus tonight. What does that mean? It basically means, what it means is I don't want to live the way that I've lived before. Jesus, I want you to come into my life and I want you to show me a new way to live. I want you to come hang out with me. I want you to invite me into you. I want you to come into my life and teach me what it is to follow you. Now guys, if that's you tonight, on the count of 3, I'm going to count to 3. And I want you to put your hand up. And don't put your hand up just because that's the thing to do. But seriously, if something tonight's resonated within you, you'll know it's you because your heart's probably going 100 miles an hour. Or your hand's already creeping up and you're going, what the heck are you doing, hand? Or whatever. If that's you tonight, you want to say yes to Jesus tonight, you want to have that change tonight, I'm going to count to 3. We're going to put our hands up and that's going to be awesome. And then after that, we're going to sing a song. And if you want that attitude change, if you want that perspective change, I want you to come down the front and I just want you to hang out in God's presence right now. Let him minister to you. But first of all, if you want to say yes to Jesus tonight, 1, 2, 3, throw your hand up. That's awesome. That's so cool. I see those hands. I see those hands. That's so cool. That's so awesome. So we're just going to say a prayer together, okay? And the words of the prayer don't really matter. It's actually the heart thing. Like it doesn't matter if you get it right or you get it wrong. It doesn't matter if you want to say the prayer 100 times afterwards as well. Okay? But I want everyone to say it. So it goes, Jesus, I invite you into my life. I want you to teach me about you. I want you to show me how to follow your ways. I'm sorry for the stuff that I've done that's been bad. But I thank you that you've wiped my slate clean. I choose to follow you today. Amen. Now, if that's the first time you've prayed that prayer, or actually, even if you don't have a Bible and you want a Bible, I want you to come and see me, and I'll give you a Bible and some other stuff that you can have. Okay, it's free. Just take it. It's a bag and it's got some stuff in it, and that's awesome. But hey, guys, thank you so much for listening to my story of Jonah and the whale. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you've got perspective. I hope it's challenged you to maybe see things a wee bit differently. But guys, we're going to sing one song. If you want to come up and you just want to have some prayer and stuff like that, I'd love to pray for you. Some of the other guys will pray for you as well. But guys, God bless you. God keep you safe and may draw you ever closer. All right. Thanks, worship team.